All right, so what else is there in blood? There are hormones. We've not talked about hormones. That'll be one of the last things we do, but these are hormones that tell your body. So there's two ways your body communicates. One is through your nerves, which is, do y'all remember what form your nerves communicate in? Electricity, yes. And your endocrine system also communicates, and it communicates through hormones. So have you guys ever heard of adrenaline? Like if a lion just showed up at the door and you saw a lion and it was roaring, you should get nervous and scared. And what's happening is adrenaline is pumping through your circulatory system, and it takes a second or two to get started. It's not as fast as your electrical communication through your nerves, but it lasts for longer. So have y'all ever gotten scared and then afterwards you're shaky? Yeah. Like, you know, there's no threat on your life. You're not scared for any reason, but you're still shaky, or your belly is upset, or you feel like you're going to throw up. That feeling is because there's adrenaline pumping through your body and you're not using it like you normally would. Now, had you taken off sprinting across the across the field or something because there's a lion after you, then that adrenaline is being used up in a different, you can just say it's being used up. And so when you stop, you might not be as shaky, or maybe you're still making adrenaline, but eventually that adrenaline is going to wear off. We'll talk about that when we get there, but it travels through your blood. And it's important because where does your blood go to?
Your heart.
Yes, but that's not the answer. Where does your blood go? Or where does it not go? Both ways.
It doesn't go.
Where does your blood go?
Your brain?
Your brain, yeah, that's one place. It's not just one place. I'm asking for a general answer.
Oh, I said heart.
What cells need access to blood?
Muscle cells?
Not all the cells. You would think all cells, but it's not all cells. What cells?
Like cells that don't have enough. Your skin cells?
No, not your skin cells. If I have a sunburn and I'm peeling the skin off of my arm or my shoulder, do those cells, when I peel that skin off, am I going to start bleeding?
No.
Okay. When I get a haircut and somebody cuts my hair, is there going to be red blood drizzling down? No. Why? What cells need access to blood and what cells don't need access to blood? Yes, you can say inside cells, but why?
Cells that are in your skin or outside of your
What people need food? People who are maybe not.
Yeah, hungry. People who are poor.
Man, y'all are struggling. Okay, guys, here, let's just say this. What is it? Yeah. No, that's a good guess. Guys, living cells need blood.
Oh.
Dead cells do not. The end of your hair is dead. The ends of your fingertips are dead. The skin on the outside of your body is dead. So, guys, living cells need blood because living cells need sugar and oxygen, and they need to get rid of waste like carbon dioxide. But dead cells don't, because dead cells don't need those things, right? Y'all understand? Are y'all following me? Okay. Do rocks need energy? No. What kind of organisms need energy? What kind of humans need to eat? Living humans. So living cells. So what kind of cells need access to blood? All living cells. Now, if you look at the picture on the board, that doesn't mean every cell is touching a blood vessel, but it does mean every cell is close to a blood vessel. If I'm outside watering my plants and where I'm right in front of me, I'm watering a plant, and there's a plant to its right and to its left, do I have to water like if it's like 6 inches on one side and a foot on the other side, do I have to water every single plant for each plant to get water? No, I can just let it drizzle in one spot and that water is going to spread out. Now, should I expect that it's going to, if I'm in my backyard, is that water that I put on that plant going to irrigate the plants in my front yard? No. So every cell has to get blood to its vicinity. And if it can get close enough, then diffusion is going to take over, and those bad things are going to get into the cell. The good things are going to get into the cell, and the bad things are going to get out of the cell and into the blood. So which cells need access to the blood? Every living cell. Not every cell that's going to live. That's why if you put a rubber band around your finger and you cut off circulation to your finger for long enough, your finger is going to die. Because it does not get access to blood, it will die. Yeah, so it'll slowly change colors and get darker and darker and darker. That's why, anyway, so every living cell needs blood. If you'll look right here, every single body system, we'll go over this as we go over each body system, every single body, and these are most of them, but these are just some of them. Every one of these body systems has to have access to blood. If it doesn't, it dies. Also, for things like the digestive system, if it doesn't have access to the blood, then all the other systems are dying. Why? Because you're not getting food. You ain't getting no food, right? You're not getting sugar. If it's not connected to the respiratory system up there in blue, why is every other body system going to hurt? Because the blood is filling up with carbon dioxide and can't get rid of it, and it's running out of oxygen. That's why your blood has to continue to circulate. That's why CPR is keeping your blood circulating, and every once in a while you put 2 breaths of air into the mouth, into their lungs, and continue to circulate, get the oxygen in and the carbon dioxide out. So we'll talk about these more as we go on. And if you'll look on the next slide, you can't see it here because it's about to skip it. There's a more of a organized list of these, but it's hidden, so you don't want to see it here. All right, here's an analogy. If you go from here to Atlanta, what road are all of you going to take?
Highway.
Not a highway. Interstate. Now, some of you, if traffic is horrible, is your next plan, hey, not interstate, I'm taking dirt roads. We're going to find every dirt road between here and Atlanta. We're going to take it. Is that your plan? No, you drop down to a smaller road, but probably a highway, maybe a 2 or 3 lane highway on each side. The reason we take the interstate to Atlanta is because the interstate is wide and you can go fast. Correct?
Yes.
Guys, your screen should be tilted where you can't type. So what happens if there's a car on a dirt road that's going slow and you're behind them?
You're going
to be going slow because as they're passing on a dirt road. No, not at any kind of speed. Now, if that person gets over on the ditch, you can just kind of barely get on the other side maybe. What happens if a car is going slow on the interstate? You just pass them. You may not even notice that you just changed lanes, or you, but your parents, or when you're older, you change lanes and zoom on past and go. Does anybody, it is good for moving a bunch of people very fast, the interstate is. But does anybody live off of the interstate?
Yes.
Have you ever seen a driveway on the interstate, you pull into the driveway off the interstate? Zero. Now, and sometimes you have those people on highways, but even then, a house directly off the highway is more rare. You see a bunch of people living off of like neighborhood, like very small streets or dirt roads or smaller, really small highways. The reason that we're talking about that analogy, your blood goes from your heart to your toe, not through a bunch of small little blood vessels, but by a really major blood vessel. Do y'all know what vessels? It starts with an A. An artery. Arteries carry blood from the heart to other cells. So I don't know if you know this, but that blood is going to have a bunch of oxygen in it. It's going to be bright red as it goes from the heart to the toe. Now, if you cut your toe off, does that mean you cut your artery in half? No, because by the time it gets to the toe, that artery that may be the size of your pinky when it's closer to the heart is now going to be the size of a small piece of pencil lead. Like thin, like 0.5 or whatever smaller, I don't know if there's smaller pencil lead. Really, really tiny pencil lead. It's going to be very, very tiny. I mean, it still can bleed a good bit, but it's still going to be tiny. It is efficient for blood to go down arteries and back towards the heart with veins. And those things are very, very, very thick and have a lot of blood flowing through them. But most of the cells are not going to get oxygen or get blood from an artery. It's going to get blood from something called, anybody know what it is? Starts with a C. A capillary. Did y'all see that word? I said that earlier. Capillary. So arteries take blood from the heart, away from the heart to the cells, and then as it gets closer, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Just like if you get on the interstate to go to, let's say your grandma lives in Atlanta or near Atlanta, and you're going to get on the interstate, so you're on a really big road, and then you're going to get off of that road onto a smaller road, to a smaller road, to a smaller road, and eventually you go into their neighborhood, which is a very small road, into the driveway, which is only, it's a really, really small. So you're getting to her house. She doesn't live on the interstate. She lives off of like 2 or 3 roads off of the interstate. That is how your cells work as well. Your cells don't live right next to the artery. There's a big branch, almost like a tree. You can imagine a tree trunk, and as you get closer to the leaves themselves, the branches are, paper thin or pencil thin. That's how dirt roads are to the interstate as capillaries are to arteries. So capillaries are really, really skinny. Arteries are a lot bigger. Here's a vocab. Artery carries blood away from the heart. Vein carries blood towards the heart. And capillaries are tiny, tiny, tiny blood vessels that are kind of in between the arteries and the veins. All right, go ahead and write those down in your notebook.